Who was that walking through? Is that your wee dog there a second ago?
Yeah, Julian.
Rattling through the
He's about 15 months old. Come here, buddy. Here, Julian. Come here. Come say hi to Foy. This is a dog that Nick chose that I would never have chosen. Here, come here. Yeah, come here.
Cute's that dog.
Yeah, he's a little toy poodle. If someone had told me I'd have a toy poodle, I would have been like, kill me now. But he's, because I've always had dogs I can wrestle with, you know, dogs I can tumble with and run around and just like, yeah, I'm a guy and I like having a dog I can wrestle with. And I've only ever had decent sized dogs. And when Nick said, oh, I found our dog, I'm like, oh, great. What is it? And she's like, it's a toy poodle. I was like, right. She went, no, I'm serious. I'm like, I'm not getting it. Sorry to all the toy poodle owners out there, but I'm not getting a fucking toy poodle. And lo and behold, she goes, just come and meet him. So I went up to where he was and met him. And within minutes, I was like, this guy's awesome. He's just got a good vibe. He's super chill. And what do I know? What do I know? Right?
I'd love a dog. I would love a dog, but I just don't have, we're not settled enough at the minute. We're still sort of darting around a little bit. And they deserve a lot. You know what I mean? If you're going to get a dog, you need to take the time.
Definitely. And I think we didn't get one we've been married 14 years and this is the first dog we've had. We've got cats, but we've never had a dog. I've always had dogs. So I was sort of anxious to get one, but same reason. We're flying around all the time. We're going to head over to here. And I'm like, you know, you just can't, you can leave a cat at home, but you can't leave the dog at home. So anyway, by finding this little guy, most of the time we take him with us on the tour bus or wherever we're going, and he just comes with us. So it's so far so good.
Bonnie always brought her dog. Bonnie Raitt always brought her dog. What was it? Lexi, was it called? Right. She was a beautiful wee dog.
What sort of dog was that?
I don't know what she was. Just like she had floppy ears, so like maybe a spaniel of some sort.
Uh-huh.
I love that the world is in absolute fucking disarray and we're talking about dogs.
Keep it a real, boy.
But yeah, there was something about that, the energy of just having her around.
Right.
Because she would just sort of hang out around the stage when you're up doing your sound check. And
you talking about Bonnie now or the dog?
No, the dog. The dog. It was lovely having Bonnie around as well, but she wasn't there so much.
Bonnie's got the big floppy ears and she just hangs around the stage and she's adorable.
Well, yeah. She is adorable, isn't she?
Oh my God, Bonnie is the best. We sat next to each other at the Grammys, and it was hard to watch people play because I just wanted to talk to her the whole time. And she's just, her energy is great to be around. So I don't know, she's just so alive and like passionate, and it's great. It's intoxicating.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I toured with her twice, but the first time was in like 2004 or 2005, something like that. And I remember going out to watch her, and I watched her every night.
I would have too.
I mean, every night I watched her every night. Yeah. And I remember saying to her, "It's so weird watching you sing, Bonnie. It's like I could see grass growing on her mic stand, you know."
Oh my God, that's a great image.
That's kind of what it felt like watching. It just felt so rooted in something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was touring with her was a real turning point. Actually, she was pretty instrumental. Not that she would know this, but just watching how she did things and how she dealt with everything from her band to her managers to her fans to whatever, was just such class and kindness, you know.
Yes, that's really important.
But
I think
still
when
getting shit done.
When you're getting to open for people like that, it's such a pivotal mentoring moment. And I had one of those experiences with Billy Connolly, the Scottish comedian.
What? You got to tour with Billy Connolly?
I toured with him all through Australia. I would have been, God, how old was I? I would have been 19 going on 20. And I was his opening act. I would come out and play 30-minute set with my acoustic guitar, play a bunch of cover songs, get the whole audience singing along. I'd do stuff like Leo Sayer and all this sort of sing-along stuff, you know, and everyone would be singing. And then I'd introduce Billy. He'd come out and he'd do his thing. But getting to travel with him, there was some really great moments that changed me as well. at the time I was in a duo with my girlfriend. So she would play keyboards, I'd play guitar. We had backing tracks. And it was a tricky moment when the Billy Connolly crew said, hey, do you want to come out and tour with us, but just you? I was like, shit. So explaining to your girlfriend that this is going to be a great career moment for us by me going out on my own was really difficult.
Yeah. No shit.
Anyway, because I said to them, listen, if I do a bunch of dates on my own, can we do a few dates that are close, nearby, where we can pay for our travel as a duo? And they're like, yeah, we can probably pick a couple of days for you guys to be a duo opening for us. So I said to her, let me go out, do these dates on my own, and then we'll get to the duo dates. Anyway, there's a reason for telling all this story. So it meant that every show I would play acoustic. I didn't have my electric. I only had my electric when I had the duo. So we were doing a show one night, and it was with the duo. So I had my electric guitar. And Billy comes down. He used to finish his show by playing an acoustic song. And he came down and he's like, hey, Keith, can I borrow your guitar tonight? Is that okay? And I'm like, oh, I don't have my acoustic. I just have my electric. He goes, oh, okay. Oh, that's fine. And I'm like, why, where's yours? And he goes, oh, one of the crew, they left it at the hotel. So they don't have it, you know. And I was like, and I'm in the room going, are you fucking kidding? Somebody left your guitar. I cannot believe. And I'm going ballistic. He's looking at me and goes, yeah, are you okay? Are you finished? And he goes, he goes, it's not here, and it's not gonna be. Christ. And he just walked off. It was such a powerful moment of acceptance of a situation like I'd never seen. Because his whole thing was like, I could fire people and scream and rat and yell. It still wouldn't be here, and I'd have to figure out what to do. So I'm going to pass off all that first bit, and I'm just going to go straight to what am I going to do. And man, did that leave its mark on me. I tell you, from that night, because I sat there feeling like a complete idiot, and it was so pivotal. And I'm telling you, never again did I get really stressed out by things being left behind or things forgotten. He's just like, okay, so what's plan B? What are we going to do? That was all because of Billy. But he said, I tell you what's important is the way you treat your opening acts. And he said, I got my start opening for Elton. And I would come out and people would be booing and throwing shit at me. And Elton John would walk out, grab the mic and go, listen, if you don't fucking stop booing and throwing shit at this guy, I'm not coming out to play. This is Billy Connolly. He's amazing. Here he is, you know. And he walked up and he said, no, I was just indebted to Elton for being so good to me. So I figured I'd always find my places to repay that. And he did it in spades, and I love Billy Connolly so much.
You've completely blown my mind there with that one. That one came out of the blue, Billy Connolly. I did not tour with Billy Connolly. Holy shit. What an incredible human. Man, you know what? See, comedians, I'm kind of more often inspired by comedians than I am by songwriters with regards to songwriting. Right. Because of their approach to the truth, you know? Yeah. Comedians and fighters, actually, you know, they're two very true you better know what the fuck you're doing if you're going to be a comedian or a fighter, you know what I mean? There's no messing around. Right. And it's just you. Yeah. There's a lot to be gleaned from those guys and how they think, you know, and how they operate. That's blown my mind. So anyway, it's pinned on food and music, and the whole idea, I mean, it keeps changing every time I talk to someone, but it's kind of death row meals, you know what I mean? We know an asteroid's coming tomorrow, and we've all agreed we're all going to have exactly what we want to eat and listen to what exactly we want to listen to. I would probably have a starter, a main, and a dessert. My granny Vance used to make this ham sandwich. It's so basic. It's plain bread, which is like a white bread, dense. It doesn't taste anything like pumpernickel, but it's sort of dense like that. It's a white bread, just with butter and ham from the butcher's. None of this kind of you know, ham from nice thick cut, and just a bit of salt and a cup of tea. Right. That's what I'd have from a starter, because it would remind me of my granny, and that'd be good. And I would listen, when I was listening to that, do you know what? I'd listen to Crazy by Willie Nelson. Wow. His version. Why Crazy? Well, a few reasons. One, I'm having my granny's ham sandwich and a cup of tea, which makes me feel like I'm at my granny's.
That makes sense.
And she was, she would crooner music. I guess it was synonymous with her somehow.
Yeah.
But also, like, any version of Crazy is a great version, because Crazy is a good song. It doesn't matter who sings that. That shines through every time, right? But there's something about Willie's version that is just otherworldly to me, and was from the second I heard it.
Do you have promite over there? Do you have I guess you have Marmite or something.
Marmite,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, Marmite. Yeah. So in Australia we have Vegemite, and then there's Marmite, and then there's also one called promite, which has its own unique, weird kind of taste. And I kind of always liked promite. And I remember being about 10 years old, and I came home from school, I was starving, and I'm like, I need to make a sandwich, but I'm so hungry, I don't know what to have on it. So I just looked around at what there was, and I found promite, which is so basically just imagine Marmite. And I had some sour cream in the fridge, and there was one banana over there. So I'm like, I'll just put them all together. So I made a promite sour cream and banana sandwich, and it was fantastic.
That made my glands go funny.
I don't know why it's good, but that's good. I'm not sure that would be my last meal, but
it could be. It's your meal. If
some may say it will be your last meal, even when you're not on death row. Ray Charles, definitely. That would be the voice. I'd be very happy if that was the last singing voice that I heard, because for me, I can't think of anyone that quite encapsulates the human experience more fully and completely than Ray did. The mixture of earth and celestial, and struggle, yearning, a fire, the scars, but the hope. That's the bit that covers me in chills. Is he always had hope, and I want to feel those things before I move into the next phase, whatever that is. If we're still going ahead with the next phase, that may have to be held back while we all quarantine. But if we're going to go ahead.
Maybe we get quarantined in heaven for a while. That's what purgatory is.
Depends where you come from, I guess.
Yeah, or where you're going.
Yeah, where are you going? Ray Charles, maybe America the Beautiful. His version of that is astounding. And I'm reading a book right now called These Truths by Jill Lepore that Nick gave me. And it's a history of America. An amazing read about the history. And I heard Ray's version the other day of America the Beautiful. And in reading this book and hearing that, it's just like, there's so much in it. There's so much in it. It's complicated. It's all complicated. And Ray makes me feel all that complication as well, but always with a layer of hope around it. So.
There's definitely something else. 98% of what's around us we can't perceive. Right. You know what I mean? We have no idea what's going on here.
Right.
Really. Other than the constructs we find for ourselves that suit us and hopefully suit others around us would be the best way to do that, right?
Yeah.
I guess to me it seems very obvious just by kind of looking around you that we dissipate. We go back to where we came from here, and it's just like everything else does, because it's energy that holds us together, and energy doesn't die, it just disperses, just goes elsewhere.
Yeah.
Do you know, I have this theory, and I don't care if it's true or not, it doesn't matter to me anymore. I've realized it's whatever.
Yeah.
That when someone close to you passes, that sort of surge of energy you get, I honestly believe, or like to think this way, that it's part of them coming. That's the part of them that belongs with you.
Yeah.
And makes you up, and that's why you have that surge of energy and the surge of emotions, and that they're kind of somehow, that's all one, really, isn't it, Keith?
Yeah.
Not to sound like a wild, wild ass hippie, but that's what I am, I suppose. So, but no matter how you crack this nut, we're all one. Doesn't matter who you are or where you stand. It's
nope. You can ask Bob Marley,
one.
you can ask Bono, you can ask John Lennon, any of them.
Einstein.
They're all saying the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true, and
yeah,
I think I agree with you too about the relationship aspect. I've definitely had that with my father since he passed away a few years ago. He was born alcoholic like I was, and struggled with it his whole life. Never really got sober. So we had whatever relationship you have with a father that's struggling with that in life. And it's very separate to him as a person. Him as a person, his heart, his soul, his spirit was beautiful, loving, caring, compassionate, very artistic, smart. And that fucking monkey on his back just never got off. And when he passed, my brother and I we're going to go down to the funeral home the night before just to sort of make sure all the preparations ready for the service the next day. And my mom said to me, she said, do you want to, they're going to do an open casket. And I'm like, no. Nope. Don't want to see my dad like that. I've got a good image of him. I don't want it messed up. I just want to leave it alone. So we went down there and someone had left the casket open, right? And I didn't know he was in this particular room, and I walked in and there he was, just like, oh shit. But I was obviously meant to see him like that. And the thing that blew me away was when I looked at his face, I went, oh my God, he's free of that thing. He's sober. That's a sober face right there. I've never seen that in my entire life. He's free now. It was so peaceful. And that was what I needed to see. I felt this overwhelming, I don't have words for it, but I felt so much joy and love and peace for him because he was free now. And I tell you, my relationship with him since then has been everything it couldn't be when he was here. It's extremely strong. I talk to my dad. I totally believe he's around helping when and where and how he can, whatever that is. I have no concept of it. But I have the last little piece of the relationship with him now that was missing then. So that's been my experience.
Yeah. Wow. You hit me a punch in the gut twice now tonight with the you knocked me sideways with Billy Connolly. I was not seeing that. I was like, what? You toured with Billy Connolly and now this. This one's heavier. This is I too saw my dad in an open casket, and it's a very so I hear you completely on that one. It's the strangest sensation, isn't it?
How was your feeling with that?
Kind of not dissimilar to yours in the sense that it was the sort of peace of him was undeniable, and there was a strange comfort in it. Weirdly, but it was just juxtaposed with he was just too young. He was too young. I was too young to lose him. He was too young to go. It was
How old was your dad?
54. Yeah. Yeah, and it was weird. I went and spent some time in the room. He was in our house. It's very classic for back home that when someone dies they just come back to the house and there's an open casket there for days and people come and pay their respects or whatever. So I took some time to go and sit and play the guitar with him. This is a very weird thing to admit to you, and to everyone else. But I was sitting playing guitar, and usually when I play I kind of close my eyes, and get lost. And there's a couple of songs that he liked Cavatina, and I was playing that, and so every time I closed my eyes I'd be like It sounds so strange, but I just going. Is he just going to sit up and go you know?
Yeah,
You know, it was a very I don't know. So I have 3 days of that with my dad, kind of going in and out and experiencing other people come to see him, and it was it was kind of like, I don't know, so I don't even know how to unpack it or really what to say about it or how to conclude anything of what I've just said, other than it was all pretty fucking surreal.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. What sort of effect has now being the dad had on you?
Yeah, that's another weird one, isn't it? Because you feel so like, I'm sure I mean, we all do, you know, you feel so like your parents at times, and you start to, it exposes exposes everything. Kids are like a poultice, you know, they bring it all, you know, they just bring everything to the top. It's like, if there's any bad in there, you're gonna soon find it out, you know. Yeah, it's challenging, but like, you know, like you say, it's a worthy challenge, isn't it? You know, I'm not gonna lie, I, like many other parents, some days just think, would yous ever all just fuck off, you know, and let me alone for a minute. Just let me alone for a minute, you know.
Yeah.
But then, you know, like I say, you know, I had that moment with Saul, or Ella and I'll go for a walk, and she'll, you know, really kind of open up with me, or Sonny, who, like, he does this really annoying thing where he wakes me up through the night. But 2 nights ago he woke me up through the night just so as he could kiss me and give me a hug, and then get back into his bed. It was the one time. It was one time he woke me up, and I lay awake for a while, thinking, that wasn't that bad, really. Yeah. Usually I'm pissed off when he wakes me up, but that was kind of cute. So yeah, you get your moments, don't you? And it's like, they're lovely, but 98% of it's kind of like the world, you know. It's kind of like the world. We only perceive 2% of it. 98% of it is unperceivable. It's like kind of like that with kids, in the sense that 2% of it is absolutely fucking magical, and 98% of it is just hard work.
Right.
For my main today, I would have I would stay sort of homegrown. I'd have champ. You know what champ is?
No, what's champ?
Champ, it's, you know what? It's just potatoes and scallions or spring onions.
Yeah.
And butter, bit of seasoning. I like put some horseradish in there as well.
Yeah.
But it was like, it's sort of like a peasant dish in Ireland years ago, like, you know, using potatoes for whatever they could, and you know, scallions grow like Billy O. You know, you cut them off and put them in a glass, and they'll still grow.
Right.
So like that was the main ingredients of it. But I love it. So that, with some nice Cumberland sausages on top and some nice gravy. Being that it's my final supper, so I can do whatever the fuck I like. I could either listen to a song, but now I'm going to listen to an album while I eat that. I'm going to listen to Billy Connolly, Bite Your Bum, which I listened to when I was growing up, and I loved. We listened to it over and over, a vinyl, which I don't have anymore, unfortunately, but inspired by your story, I would listen to that. I'd be happy hearing that just before I go.
That'd be a great way to go out. Just go out, gut bust belly laughing the whole way out.
Yeah.
I love a really, really well cooked steak, I gotta say. I love seafood and all of that, but a really, really great fillet cooked really, really well. I think there's nothing better than that. So that would be on the menu. Maybe God Only Knows.
Oh.
Because it's just one of the greatest songs I think ever written.
Good call.
Any song that opens with "I may not always love you," I'm like, what? And this is the opening line of one of the greatest love songs ever. Goodness me, I'm in.
Yeah.
And then Bohemian Rhapsody would be high on the list too, because just the sheer majesty and grandeur of a vision. And if there's an audible version for a vision, I wish they would tell us what it is, because it's not really a vision. I rather like the word audialize. I tell people I can audialize my album, which means I can hear it before it's finished.
Yeah.
So whatever Freddie had in his head, with that song. It was quite it's really a Sistine Chapel of song structure and recording techniques, and so it's an amazing song. And I don't know how many times I've heard Bohemian Rhapsody, and I never tire of it. It's crazy. So maybe Bohemian Rhapsody.
Where would we be without music? I don't know where. I don't want to think where I'd be without music. I'm sure you don't want to think where you'd be without music too. You know,
I wouldn't be here talking to you. I know that much.
You know what I mean? This is what, that's the reality, like a genuine reality. So
yeah, I think I'd be in jail. Probably. That's my guess.
Yeah, do you know what? You probably would, because that would be cool, and this, that could still be seen as some kind of Ned Kelly, or I don't know if I'm crossing boundaries here, but that could be seen as some kind of, like like Outlaw Keith, Outlaw KU. I would probably just end up in the storage room at McDonald's or something. Just boxing, doing the boxes. That's where I would have ended up.
It's very specific.
When the lockdown happened, and people were going on about how bad it was, I felt bad, because I didn't want to say, for me, that everything was going great. London had got really quiet, and now the drive to the studio, I couldn't go on the train anymore, so I'd had to drive to the studio, so I didn't see anybody,
right,
or be near anybody. But the drive to the studio was going through ghost town London, which is like ideal London for me. London, I love London as a city, but I get very uptight when I'm there after a while. I need to look out and see what I'm looking at now. Yeah,
New York is a bit that way too. It's a great energy, great city, but spending too long there is you need some green, need some trees, space.
Yeah, I really do. Space is key, and silence, and it's just really hard to get silence in London.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember that scene in Dumb and Dumber when Jim Carrey's character is in the bathroom stall and he's sucking his thumb? Yeah. I felt like that for about the first 2 weeks of the whole thing. I'm like, la 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 la. I just wanted to. I didn't know what to do. I realized that I love touring. I love going to the studio to create with a bunch of guys. I love all these things that I was about to say took for granted, and I guess you do, only because you don't realize they can all go. But I missed all that. I was in the midst of making my record. I was finishing my record, and I was still in that recording mode. So I suddenly went, okay, so I can't record with anybody. I can't play any gigs. Oh, I'm just not going to do anything. I just hang out with the family and just act like I'm done. But it felt weird. It felt weird for a while. My whole team had to sort of it was almost like a creative intervention had to happen with me, where they're like, you going to actually do anything? And I'm like, yeah. And I slowly got back on the saddle, but it took a minute. My mother used to make a really great, still does, chocolate sauce pudding, which was a recipe she got from her mother in New Zealand that I think she got from her mother. So it's one of those passed on down things, and very English, I guess, in its origin, because it's a hot pudding, but it's got the sort of chocolate sponge part. It's got this sauce, which is a bit more, the viscosity is quite thin. It's a very liquidy. It's fantastic. We used to have it a lot when we were kids. And I used to like leaving leftovers in the fridge and having it in the morning cold with huge amounts of cream poured all over it. And for some reason, my mom was cool with that. She didn't mind. It's like the worst thing to have in the morning, but that's what I'd have.
Well, you know what? See, for my dessert, Keith, if you don't mind, I'm gonna come into your cell, and I'm gonna have some of that runny, sticky chocolate hot
sauce pudding.
Some of the other the pavlova, was it pavlova as well?
Yeah,
pavlova was good. That reminds me of the 80s dinner parties.
Yes.
Pavlova and what do you call it? Prom Mary Rosa in one of those glasses of margarita glass.
Yeah. What is that stuff? Whatever it's called, primo. So I still see it in places.
Prom Mary Rosa, just like a seafood sauce. That was a big thing in the 80s.
Did you have Cinzano at all? Cinzano was a big one in Australia in the 80s too. I don't know where the hell that was.
But What's
Funny how
Cinzano?
it's funny how there's drinks for certain decades, certain periods that are just it's the in thing, right? I don't even know what Cinzano is. My mother used to love it. God only know. I don't know. Who knows? Didn't interest me.
Fizzy nonsense. Yeah, so I'm gonna come into your cell and eat that shit with y'all and listen to Bohemian Rhapsody because, like I say, that'd be cool. If you don't mind, I'll sit on the other side of the cell so as we both have our distance. You know, we don't have to be looking at each other's eyes as we disperse off into the molecules or anything.
Might be a better way to go.
Well, listen. Now that I know you're open to that, let's talk further offline.
Yeah. Top bunk or bottom bunk there for you. I don't know. We'll work it out. I have no idea what. I can't even imagine what that is. That whole experience. What am I basing that on? What comprehension am I using for that? Yeah, I often used to say it's like walking on the moon, right? I don't know what that feels like. I can see it. I can have somebody explain it to me, but I wouldn't have a clue what it feels like. I have no reference for it, and I should imagine those poor souls that are living out that last 12 hours, 24 hours. I can't imagine. Cannot imagine it.
Yeah,
how did you come up with this concept?
Well, do you know what? It wasn't really so much death row, or it wasn't so much a death row thing as much as just like. I don't know, the world's ending or something's happening and you've just, or even just you've set aside a night. Maybe I shouldn't make it that the world ends. Maybe I should just make it that you just have a Friday night and you can listen to your favourite records and eat your favourite meal. Maybe that would be less morose.
Yeah, but it's more dramatic this way, which is the Irish way, really, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
No,
you're going to die after this. What fucking pudding do you want? You're going to die, son. You're going to fucking die.
Nowhere in this house is any accolades of any sort anywhere. It's just blank. And I've always had it that way because I just want to walk in and go, I don't have a fucking clue what I'm doing. I'm just here, but I'm here, and let's jump in the sandbox and let's make some shit and see what happens. It's never changed for me. It's always been that way, And I can't count the amount of people I've collaborated with, and I'm sure you have too. You walk into their studio and it's just like adorned with platinum and gold records and Grammys, and you're just like, oh my God, how do you create in here? I'd be crippled. I would be just crippled by this ridiculous expectation that is completely destructive. It serves no purpose.
No.
So anyway, that's...
They're only good if you win them, Keith.
Huh?
They're only good if you win them.
Yeah, I saw John Mayo after he won the Best New Artist Grammy, or I don't know what the hell he won. Some Grammy one year, I don't know what it was. I think he won for Daughters or something. And I saw him afterwards and I said, oh man, congratulations to your Grammy. He goes, it's good for about a week. And then it's back to work,
Yeah,
it's
back to work as usual. Back to the grind.
Yeah.
Yeah, every Monday back to the grind.
Oh, come on! Waking and working, sleep and repeat, taking it slow on me. Gotta get out the highway, get on the back road, keep on driving till
no, I better not.
find a little me on the side. Slip in the side road, fire up the banjo. We gonna lose our minds, maybe some close tonight. Yeah, we got good friends, good songs, good time. Remember what it is to be alive. What a perfect send-off for our little sit-down chat, boy.
Do you know what? I was just about to go in and join in on the drums. There's a drum kit behind me, and I thought, that would be the worst. Can you imagine the Wi-Fi? It would just be a fucking... Push.
Yeah.
Anyway, Keith, thank you for taking this time, man. I really appreciate it. It's good to see
I love
your
you, Foy.
face.
I really do.
Yeah, the feeling's mutual, brother.
You're putting good in the world, and I will always be really grateful and honoured to be a part of anybody that's doing that. Just trying to leave it a better place than we found it. It's not rocket science.